For the first course, I have chosen a Dolcetto di Alba by Simeone Scaletta. When I looked at the salad, I saw that it had the fatty duck, the tart greens, and the cherries that I just wish I had a little bit more of. So I wanted a wine that would enhance those flavors, but without necessarily overpowering them. And I also didn't want a wine that would be too thin or fragile, not to be able to handle these flavors. The most challenging thing about this pairing was finding the actual wine, mostly because this salad was a very simple yet very well-made salad. So I really needed a wine that would be simple enough yet well-made enough, just like the salad was. And finding this wine for that price was a challenging part. Most wine growing regions in the world have the ability to create a high-quality, expensive wine, but it's only a few regions that have the power, like Alba, to create a simple and expensive, well-made wine. So that was the most challenging part, literally just nailing down this perfect wine.
For the first course, I chose Invita Cucina Albarino. It was really tough because it has that really nice duck leg on top of it, but a really fresh salad below. And you kind of want something that makes that salad pop. So I did something with a little bit of acidity. It's still going to pair really well with the duck, but I just really wanted to make that salad feel really fresh. The most challenging part of the dish was the fact that there are two different ways that the duck is presented. There's that really crunchy part on the top of the duck leg, but there's also a lot of really soft and really flavorful duck that's been tossed into the salad as well. So trying to find the balance between those two with a wine that pairs with both of them. Second course, I chose Mas de Brassats. It's a Cab Syrah blend from the Rhone Valley. One of the really cool kind of trivia facts is that the winery and the area around it was settled by veterans of Julius Caesar's Egyptian campaigns. So it's really old, but it's got a lot of history to it as well. And then the wine itself, a lot of Rhone wines pair with really rustic dishes, which is really kind of cool too. So the dish itself was kind of all over the board, which is great. There's a lot of texture and there's a lot of different flavors going on. So it was kind of hard to decide whether I wanted to go with fish and do a white wine, or if I wanted to look at the parsnip and the tomato sauce and do something with a little bit more body to it. So I kind of decided to go that way because it's a really fun contrast. I decided that because it's got some of that really rustic kind of characteristic to it that goes really well with a lot of those Rhone blends, that would be a really cool option to do. Most challenging was, the very classic idea that fish goes with white wine. And it doesn't always have to be that way, especially with all of the stuff around the dish. So just kind of trying to wrap my brain around, I'm gonna do something slightly different. It's not gonna be completely classic, but it's gonna be a really good pairing for it too. My favorite thing about the wine is you're seeing Syrah, which is very classic for that region, but you're seeing a little bit of Cab in there too, which is something that you don't always see from the region. So the Cab is giving it some really nice juiciness that Grenache usually gives it, but more weight than Grenache. So it's kind of a cool little blend that you don't see very often from that area.
From the second course, I have chosen Chateau Haut-Brisson Saint-Emilion Grand Cru. And this is a French wine from the Bordeaux region, specifically from the little village or surrounding villages of Saint-Emilion. And this is a blend, but we can agree that it's mainly Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon. Another dishes this goes well with is, of course, some meat, some roasted lamb, or some poisson à la Bordelaise, which is just fish from Bordeaux. So when I first saw this dish, I was just amazed by how pretty it was. But not just that, the green parsley sauce, the porcini mushrooms, the little salty brandade, the fishy fish. So I had a lot going on, but at the same time, the dish was very quiet, calming, soothing, and intriguing. So I literally needed a wine that would translate in the exact same way. And I really thought that the Saint-Emilion was the definition of that. I think this is the only wine out of the three that I definitely knew from the beginning what I wanted to do, from the first time I tasted the dish until now. The other two, I definitely switched my mind back and forth. The thing is, when I want to find a perfect pairing for a dish, I first, of course, taste the dish and I see what I like about it, what I don't like, And then from then I get really geeky and I break it down. I look at, is there any butter or cheese in this dish that would affect the flavor? Is there spices, herbs, vegetables? What's the protein? What's the preparation method? I ask the chef, are you trying to highlight a specific thing in the dish, or are you trying to marry all the ingredients together? And after all this, then I think, all right, food is either fatty, salty, sweet, acidic, or spicy. So technically, you never want to mix some of these like bitterness, spiciness, and acidity. But some like fatty, sweet, and salty should be mixed. So at this time, I realized, is this dish balanced? If not, can I use the wine to balance it? And after all this, I have this perfect answer, the answer that the book has written, the answer that is the most technical, and I can either play it safe and go with this answer, or I can just crunch it away and throw it away, go back to the first step where I ask myself, do I like this dish? And yes, I really, really like this dish. So you know what, I'm just gonna go with my heart and go with a wine that I think complements a little earthiness, a little saltiness, and the Saint Emilion is definitely that wine. The wine I've chosen for this course is the Monkschaft Riesling Ursiger Wurstgarten. And this is a Riesling from Germany, specifically from the Ursiger Wurstgarten village. And it's just a nice high acid wine with definitely some mineral notes and that nice Moselle German style to it. When I saw this dish, this was one of the yummiest dish. I think that's the perfect word for it, yummy. That pork just fell apart. Those grapes just explode in your mouth and just coat your mouth with the sweetness. But at the same time, you have that pimento sauce that adds a little spiciness. It's not tremendous, but you have a little spiciness. So in this dish, I have a lot of sweetness and velvety feelings coming from the pork. So I needed a wine that would definitely cut away a little bit of the sweetness and the fat from the pork. So I decided to go with a really high acid wine. And another thing I wish I had more of was those pistachios on top of the pork, and also maybe just a few more of those grapes. So you know what, I'm gonna go with a wine that has a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of earth at the same time, and nothing worked better than a Riesling.
For the third course, I chose Seven of Hearts, Leah's Vineyard Pinot Noir. It is from the Willamette Valley area, actually the Callahan Mountains, which is the sub-appellation of the area. Pinot Noir and pork is a really classic pairing. The thing that I really like about Pinot is that it really brings out some really rustic characteristics of the dish. So that cauliflower fritter, the pistachios on top of the pork, they just work really well. And Pinot usually has that little bit of fruitiness that kind of contrasts the pork itself. So when you think about people doing cranberries and pork at Thanksgiving, it's kind of the same concept. The most challenging part about this dish was those grapes, because doing grape wine and grapes is kind of hard to kind of get your brain around and figure out how do I want to go about this. That being said, those little bits of the micro arugula kind of balance out the grapes, so it worked, but it was a little challenging at first.
I am ridiculously happy that this chance had to happen to me. Just the whole sommelier thing has changed my life tremendously in the last year. So this new challenge was just the perfect thing I needed to put more effort and heart into this profession now that I think I will pursue. And the whole, I've heard about Winefest for years, but I've never thought I could get involved with it. And to be able to in a way be the star in it along with Kelsey, then it's just fascinating, and I'm super excited for this to happen.
I would love to win. It would definitely be a chance for me to show my chops and kind of a new perspective on wine in the Des Moines area, which is definitely a growing area anyways. So it's nice to see so many people wanting to learn about pairings or wanting to try different things, and just being able to really trust the somms in the area to point you in the right direction.